Alright guys, so far we've been adding and subtracting monomials, but in the next few pages we're going to learn how to multiply monomials. The rules for adding and subtracting monomials are much different than the rules for multiplying monomials. One of the ways that the rules are different is in the signs. When you have an odd number of negative signs, your answer is going to be negative. When you have an even number of negative signs, your answer is going to be positive. Odd numbers are like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Those are odd numbers. Odd. Even numbers are like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Even numbers are divisible by 2. Okay. When you have an even number, your answer is going to be positive. When you have an odd number, your answer is going to be negative. So if you notice here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. So that means our answer is positive. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 3 negatives, and that's odd, so our answer is negative. Okay, that's one rule about multiplying monomials when it comes to the signs. The other rule is when you just have two numbers, two signs, and they're the same, even if they're both negative, your answer is positive. If they're different, when you have two, if they're different, your answer is negative. Got it? So when the signs are the same, your answer is positive. When the signs are different, your answer is negative. Okay? Signs the same, positive. Different signs, negative. When you've got an odd number of negative signs, then your answer is negative. When you have an even number of negative signs, then your answer is positive. Okay, well, let's answer this question here. If we were to multiply the above 4 factors, would the answer be negative or positive? Well, we know that these 3 are negative, so that's odd, so I know my answer is negative, right? And this number is positive, so that's a positive and the negative together, right? Well, what do we do when the signs are different? Well, we know that our answer is negative, so our answer is going to be negative. Okay, why? Well, a simple explanation would be because there are 3 negatives, our answer is negative. Obviously, because 3 is an odd number, an odd number of negatives gives us a negative answer. Okay, I know you might be a little bit confused. Don't get scared. You will definitely get the hang of this before we're done. I promise you. Okay, so the one thing you've got to remember is that the rules for adding and subtracting monomials is different than the rules for multiplying monomials. Get that in your head. Adding and subtracting monomials has different rules than multiplying monomials. Okay, we saw one difference, and that's in the signs. The other difference is in the variables. When you add 3a squared and 2a squared, your variables and your exponents do not change. All you do is change the number. You add it, 5a squared, right? That's one other difference. You don't change the variable. But when you're multiplying 3a squared times 2a squared, you multiply the numbers. That gives you 6, and the exponents you add. The variable stays the same, a, but you add the exponents. What's 2 plus 2? 4. So when you're multiplying variables, monomials, you add the exponents. When you were doing addition and subtraction, you didn't do anything to the exponents. But in multiplication, you add the exponents. And you can only add the exponents of like terms. So let's say that you got 3b squared times 2a squared. Well, you multiply the numbers together, that gives you 6, but you don't do anything to the exponents or the variables because they're different. So you just leave them alone. You just rewrite them, a squared, b squared. Nothing changes because the variables are different. When the variables are the same, you add the exponents. But when the variables are different, you leave the exponents alone and you just rewrite the variables. So let's start applying these things that we've just learned to these multiplication problems. We've got 3a times 2a. Well, first we've got to determine what our sign's going to be. Well, since there's no sign in front of these numbers, we already know that the answer is positive. So both of these are positive. And remember, when the signs are the same in multiplication, our answer is positive. When the signs are different, our answer is negative. So here the signs are the same. So I know my answer is going to be positive. I'm not going to write anything because when it's positive, I leave it blank. Now I'm going to multiply my numbers together. What's 3 times 2? You should have said 6. I hope you did. Okay? 3 times 2 is 6. Now, remember, we've got to add our exponents. But you're saying, well, there's no exponent here. Yeah, there is. There's a 1 here. But we don't write it. It's understood to be there. We automatically assume that the exponent is 1 when there's no exponent. So there's a 1 here in the a, and there's a 1 here with this other a. So what's 1 plus 1? Hope you said 2. If you didn't say 2, we're in trouble. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay. And that's our answer. 6a squared. Now, with this next term, our signs are different. So what's our sign of the answer going to be? It's going to be negative, because when the signs are different, our answer is negative. And now, now that we know the sign, let's go to the number. What's 7 times 8? I'll give you a minute to think about that. 7 times 8 is 56. Okay, so we've got our number, so we've got our signs, we've got our number. Now we're going to do our exponents. Well, the variables are the same, so that means we could add these exponents. So we're going to get m, and what's 2 plus 2? Hope you said 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. So that's our answer, negative 56 m to the 4th power. Okay, now here we've got a negative and a negative. This means multiplication. The dot means multiplication, and parentheses means multiplication. So we've got a negative and a negative. That means our signs are the same. So that means our answer is going to be positive. Now let's do the numbers. 3 times 3 is 9. So we know it's going to be a positive 9. And now we've got the a's. Well, we got a to the second, a to the second. Well, these variables we can add the exponents because the variables are the same. So it's going to be a to the 4th. And here we've got x to the 1st and x to the 1st. So now we could add these two exponents because the variables are the same. So that gives us x squared. You getting the hang of it? Hope so. Well, here, what's our sign? Well, since both of these are positive, and I know they're positive because there's no sign, my answer is going to be positive. So I'm not going to write a sign there because I know it's positive. And here, my variable are a and b, so I can't do nothing with that. That stays the same, a and b. But my numbers I can multiply together. So my sign is a positive, my number is 6, and I just put AB because there's nothing I can do with those variables because there's no like variables that I could add the exponents with. Alright, here we've got the same signs, so that's going to be a positive. Our exponents we're going to add, that's going to give us a to the 4th. Our variables b and b we're going to add, that's going to give us b to the 5th because that's understood to be 1. Here our signs are different, so our answer is going to be negative. Our number is going to be 18, and we're going to add our variable exponents. That's going to be b to the 3rd because 2 plus 1 is 3. Negative and positive, answer is different. 9 times 6 is 54, and then a squared plus a squared. We're going to add the exponents. That gives us a to the 4th. Then 7 times 2, well, the signs are the same, that's positive, and 7 times 2 is 14. We're going to add the a's, that's going to give us a squared. We're going to add the b's, that's going to give us b squared, and there's nothing to add the c with, so that just stays as c. And that's it.